Hi, this is Peter Gianetti of Homepage News, and welcome to episode 4 of Rapid Fire with NPD. I'm joined once again by Joe Derochowski, Home Industry Advisor for the NPD Group. In this episode of Rapid Fire, Joe will share his data-backed insights on how inflation is impacting the home and housewares business. So if you're ready to go, Joe, let's get started. First question, how has inflation affected housewares pricing?
Well, clearly, these have been very interesting and challenging times, and pricing has gone up, like across all industries that NPD tracks. Pricing year to date, and this is through April 16th, is up 8% total for the home industry. Housewares is up 11, small appliances are up 5. But across all the industries that NPD tracks, 8% is the average. In essence, there's 6 industries that grew more than 8% year to date. And there's another 6 that grew less than 8% year to date. So we're kind of right in the middle there. Now, this is average selling price, which is several things. One, it is higher prices, but 2, it's also there are less promotions, what we've seen during the period. Now, lately that's picked up, but the less promotions and less depth of promotion also makes a higher price. There's been a change in product mix. Different products, different manufacturers are really focusing on within their portfolio, as well as retailers. There's clearly been product innovation that has also impacted pricing, and consumers up until lately have really been a little more less price sensitive if you think of used cars and homes and what's happened there. So there's been really kind of a change, but pricing overall has gone up across the board, and everything pretty much that we're tracking here at NPD.
Next question, how has that inflation impacted consumer spending on home and housewares products?
Well, it's brought back the traditional price and promotion model. What I mean by that is, during 2020, during the initial phase of the lockdown, as well as the early part of 21, I mean, we could raise prices and still sell more units, or if a product wasn't in demand, or some industries that they could lower price and they still weren't selling them. So that old raise your prices, fewer units, or lower your prices, more units, that model went out the door. But since December, that model for the home industry really has returned. So as we have been raising prices, we do see a little bit of a decline in the number of units. And so that traditional model is starting to play out. Now, what's happening with that is, if you think about it, it's varying by income levels, because all the price ranges for, I'll use kitchen electric as an example, it's $150 plus that are seeing most of the growth. So we haven't fully seen the impact of this, but it's gradually starting to work. And the lower the income the consumer is, the less disposable income they have for spending. So they're seeing a little of initial impact there. And I expect over the next few years, as we will continue to work its way up through all pricing and income levels as consumers continue to spend more and more.
Our final question today, with inflation expected to remain a key factor, what should the home and housewares business be thinking about as it prepares for the back half of this year?
When we think about it, the most important thing we need to think about is a couple. First of all, we will never let the cost of food outpace our incomes. In all the years that I spent in the food business, other than 1946, there was not a year that we had food outpace our incomes. Now that might be happening now, but the reason why this is important is historically, it always has been eating at home is 3 to 4 times cheaper than eating away from home. So one of the first things that the consumer does when they feel the economic pressures is we're going to eat more meals at home, which is good news for us because it increases the importance of our products. The second thing, the consumer is always very creative, whether consciously or subconsciously, in how they adapt to this. So in addition to eat more meals at home, they usually will eat more leftovers. So those products related to helping with make leftovers or storing leftovers will get a little bit of a benefit with that. The consumer may serve fewer items. So I know, like in the restaurant industry, they would drop maybe the side dish and just have the main dish oriented item, or maybe the dessert gets impacted or the beverage. So the consumer will make some sort of hack to help manage that overall consumer budget that they have. And we just have to pay attention to it or help guide the consumer on what solutions are that they can manage this best for them. The last thing we need to be thinking about, or last 2 things, is the consumer is going to be looking for value. It's not always about the cheapest price. They want to know that when they're spending money, that they're getting the best quality product that they've done. At the IHA show, when we had it here, I remember the panel that Tom and Leanna and I were on, and Tom had some of that research, and Leanna and him talking about the importance of quality. We can't forget that. In addition to it, the last thing we need to be thinking about is, as we think about our promotion strategy and how that's going to play out over the holidays, we've got to remember this year, as promotions start to get dialed back up, we want to make sure we don't overtrain the consumer to do something that we don't want to fit for a lifetime of being a customer of ours. Put another way, we want to be promoting every single week of the year, because then the consumer is going to be expecting it. So what is the overall strategy that each brand and retailer has also needs to be playing into this as we think about the back half of this year, as well as next year going forward.
Well, thanks again to Joe Derochowski of NPD for very revealing insights on what's another crucial industry issue. For Homepage News, I'm Peter Gianetti. We'll see you next time on Rapid Fire with NPD.